Good morning. We're going to open up class here in a minute. Oh boy. Welcome to I Love Stocks. We're going to talk about last week. Let me put a pause to this. I Love Stocks. Turn off this. All right. Hello, Tony. What a week last week was. I think it'll be in the history books for a long time. A lot of things were pointed out that we really want to talk about today. Today's going to be talking about fat cats and retail traders. History is in the making. We'll get a few more people in here. If you ever have any friends that want to join this lasts for about 2 hours, and we have a little short lesson, or we have like a discussion, then we just go in and talk about stocks. Hello, Josie. How's my little girl doing? We'll be watching movies. Yeah, they'll come out with another movie, I guarantee it. Hopefully I'll be one of the leading actors in it. I always did want to be an actor. Or I took a lot of classes in a way when I was young. But what a day. What a week. I want to welcome everybody to the room. This is like a 2-hour session. We kind of, am I too loud or anything? You can adjust the volume. I'm sounding okay. That'll be fine. This will be recorded. You can always go back and look at some of these tickers and stuff, but it's always good to have a pencil and paper handy, where you can jot down a few notes or something that you might pick up that you didn't know, or some other tickers we're going to be talking about. Definitely want to talk about some of the runners last week. I've got my little paper right here. I'm ready to go. It's raining here in Missouri. But I wanted to get this in today just because last week was a very momentous week. Momentum. I mean, we will remember last week for the rest of our lives. I was telling the room, I said, every year has been different to me in the market. There's always something. There's always a new trend, or there's always something that surprises me every year. And it usually happens at around the beginning of the year, especially every 4 years after an election. So we do have a new president now. I wish him the best of luck. I wish he was a little bit more coherent, but, you know, that's what happens, so we have to kind of live with it. But I think a lot of this is going to be coming down to the politicians by probably in a couple of weeks. We're going to hear about hearings. We're going to hear about lawsuits with all these big runners. It always happens. I'm surprised we haven't seen a lawsuit out yet about GME. But there's probably people that got stuck in the trade, or the beginner traders that just fallen on the hype. And it was definitely a momentous week. Something that we'll never forget. But I want to go ahead and I'm going to play a little thing that I picked up on YouTube. We're going to watch it for a couple minutes, and I think it really explains probably better than what I could what happened last week. And this basically, we're just going to talk about the institutions, the hedge managers, and the pressure that they're under right now. And I've been saying for a couple of years that the retail trader is going to be a very combative, I'd say, combative comparison to what the hedge funds are doing. There's going to be some back and forth. I think eventually they're going to even out the level field, and there's going to be a lot of new laws and rules made to kind of. I don't know how the politicians are going to react if they're going to pick like they did during Wall Street reform. They picked on the retail traders and bailed out the institutions. If the banks and all the big hedge funds and all them people, all the big car companies, and that happened during the last crash that we had back in 08 and 07. I remember that real well. I watched it every day. And now I think that the politicians are probably going to do the same thing. They're going to bail out these big hedge fund deals and these companies that are collapsing, and maybe they're going to give us a little more leeway on the retail trader. But I thought the retail trader was very punished back during the 08 and 07 era. And that's when all the frenzy started with the internet, and all the people started getting involved in trading stocks. I was probably one of the first of maybe 4 or 5 rooms that had a chat room at that time. We were called the Penny Play. And then later I had another chat room called Wash Stock Watch. And I run it for a couple of years. And then I got into another, so we decided to run another little, that's where I met Vegas at. No, I didn't meet her there. I met her after I closed down my website. And then I was in another room that I was friends with a guy named in Canada and a guy in Florida. And so I really felt that there was going to be a big frenzy of retail traders coming into the market. People that, since the internet's been built, there's been a lot of changes in our economy. And COVID is another big, and you go through these every 20, 30 years, you go through these big changes. And the internet was the last one back in 1990. The cell phone was another big thing back in the 80s. The computer was another big revolution that changed the world. And now we have COVID, which will be changing the economy and the world, the way we stay and the way we've been living. So we always got to be adjusting, and I think that's what these fat cats are going to have to understand. They've been getting away with this for years. They sit back and they go into behind these closed door meetings and they say, we're going to pump this, we're going to put that down, we're going to short this, and then you got them billions, hundreds of billions of dollars getting thrown in the market. And that's why we like to watch the money flow. Vegas, Basscat, Tony, a lot of people in the room, we follow the money. The retail traders follow the money. So there's a lot of rooms out there, and there's more people getting involved in it every day. And these retail traders are piling on, and the hedge funds ain't doing that. I mean, they've had the same old fat cats that have been running these hedge funds for many of years and been screwing us over for many years. So I still believe that in a couple of years, maybe by 5 years from now, it's going to be very competitive like it is right now. It's starting to show through now, and last week was good evidence. So let's listen to what these guys got to say here, and then we'll go ahead and have a couple of you ask me questions, or if you have anything smart about it that you want to contribute, please do it in the chat room. I'd appreciate it. Your thoughts, the way you feel about what's going on here lately, and I'm going to go ahead and play this thing. Turn it up.
Chamath Palihapitiya is the CEO of Social Capital. He joins us now on the phone. Chamath, thank you for being here.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So you tweeted yesterday that you bought $115 calls in GameStop. Can you tell me what your position is as of this very moment?
Yeah. Can I tell you a little story before all of that, or no?
Why don't you tell me that first, and then we'll go from there.
So this morning I woke up after spending all last night in Wall Street Bets, reading about all of this stuff. I ended up closing up my position this morning, and I wanted to announce that I'm taking all the profits that I made, plus my original position. So I'm going to take $500,000, and I'm going to donate to the Barstool Fund for Small Businesses. But I really want to tell you, beyond the 500 grand donation or the money that I invested, which was, not a huge amount in the grand scheme of that stock or the entire market, what I learned, because I think what I learned over the last couple of days is important for everybody that's watching CNBC.
And that is?
I think that what you're seeing is essentially a pushback against the establishment in a really important way. You have a lot of people, and I would encourage anybody who is dismissive of this thing to go into Wall Street Bets and actually just read the forums. And I think that you're going to see three kinds of posts. The first kind of content are a lot of people doing some incredible fundamental diligence on companies, trying to think about long-term value. And in my opinion, many of them are doing as good and frankly a better job than a lot of hedge fund analysts
Exactly.
that I work with. Not some
I agree.
The second are a lot of people who believe that, coming out of 2008, what happened was Wall Street took an enormous amount of risk and they left retail as the bag holder. And a lot of these kids were in grade school and high school when that happened. They lost their homes, their parents lost their jobs, and they've always wondered, why did those folks get bailed out for taking enormous amounts of risk and nobody helped and showed up to help my family? And then the third thing is a realization that instead of having idea dinners or, quiet whispered conversations amongst hedge funds in the Hamptons, these kids have the courage to do it transparently in a forum. And I'm not saying all of it is perfect by any means, but I think it takes an enormous amount of faith in the system to be that transparent, to talk about things, and then for each individual to make their own mind up and to do things, whether it's to buy and to sell.
Well, that was that. I don't think that got the whole explanation out there, though, but what we're going to talk about, did you all feel that last week? That the hedge funds were getting a little squeezed? They were getting hurt? How they control the market? I've seen this go on for years after years after years after years after years. I've seen it go on for a long time, and I've seen politicians do the same thing. They have what you call lobbyists. So they're all buddies and buddies with these guys. Don't let them fool you. I've seen the same thing happen when we had the crash back in 07, 08. First thing they did is had the banks make all the laws. They had the banks write the laws. They had the hedge fund people getting in there and doing all the talking for them. And I don't know if the government's going to get tougher this time around or not, but I know we're going to have some hearings about this. $70 billion was lost by the big boys last week, and they still keep shorting Tesla. They've been shorting that thing for 10 years and still can't get it down. So basically, they lost a lot of money last week. A lot of money. And I think they kind of got a little grist, and if you watch CNBC, you heard them kind of babysitting these fat cats, and how they were bad-mouthing retail traders. And I still have people badmouth retail traders. And I'm very passionate over the retail trader, over the fat cats that are up on Wall Street. That's why I started doing this. Because I got sick and tired of watching these guys fake it every week, every day, and drive these big fat yachts and not allowing the young guys, little guys, to get in there and start playing the market. So Robinhood was the talk of the town last week. Robinhood opened up the doors for many retail traders. The reason why is because they had a platform, and you can get on their platform and you can trade stocks for at no cost. So a couple of years after they opened that up, a lot of these other big accounts started doing the same thing. Ameritrade started doing it. Schwab, I think, does it. U-Stock Trade. Tastyworks charges a little bit, but they all charge just a little bit. I mean, U-Stock Trade charges $1 a month, $1 a month to play worth their platform, and then $1 for every trade, I think, if I remember right. Heck, I don't know. I don't care. I never really cared about commission, as long as I made money. That wasn't a big deal for me. But so basically, I think we all learned a lesson last week. and I think that we're going to see a lot of changes coming down the pike. And so if you do good in the market, do what Shamal did, whatever his name is, donate some of that money to a wealthy cause. And Operation Smile is one of my people that I donate to, and I donate to my family that are in need. So I've been helping my mom out and my sister out for the last 15 years, and any 10% of what I make goes to them. And I just want to kind of throw that in there. But last week's lesson was Bollinger Bands, and this one was just kind of talking about how I feel about the market, and we're going to go over some of them stocks. So if you have any of them stocks that really ran real good that you're interested in, I mean, I'm one of the best knife catchers out there. I know how to find them supports. If you watched the last video, not the last one, but the one I did before it on Fubo and Tesla and GME, you would have found out that I hit every support that I called on them trades. They pulled back to every one. Fubo was starting to pull back to that major low support too. And I'll be running that back up here in a little bit. But I like to buy at support and sell at resistance. It's true, I'm not the best at exiting, but I do exit most of the time with a profit. And there's times where I wish I would have stayed in trade a lot longer, and then there's times where I wish I would have got out a lot sooner. So we all make mistakes. Every one of us do. If anybody tells you that they're perfect, they're lying to you. One thing I can't stand is somebody that's overconfident in how they trade or how they talk. But we all have flaws, and we got to try to work on them flaws. And I want to make sure that everybody that's listening today kind of keep this in mind. The Wall Street can trade. You can trade it any way you want. It's there for you. It's open there for you. You can. I mean, if you work full time, you can trade after hours and pre-market before you go to work. If you work maybe a part-time job, you can come in and play after hours or pre-market or even lunch breaks. There's just so many different ways, time periods that you can trade the market. So you gotta figure out your best plan, what works best for you. A lot of people are going to be working from home, so it's going to be a lot of times they had regulations at work where they'd get on your computers and they'd tell if you weren't fucking around with something that you shouldn't have been doing, or looking at porn or talking to people online or stuff. But working from home, it's going to be a different situation. They're not going to be able to monitor that stuff. And I think I know a lot of people that are working from home. And I've been doing this for 15, 16 years now. So I was one of the first that started trading when the computers started coming out. And that was back about 94. And I didn't really do a lot of trading back then. I started really getting into it when we had the crash of 07 and 08. So always remember, the market will bleed, and then it'll have some greed. And the markets, usually every 4 years, you'd get a nice little correction. But we haven't had a real nice correction since that COVID thing. And you see what happened during COVID. I mean, once we hit that 18,000, she shot back up and hit a double top. And a V recovery. I was looking for a stair step. And we started off that way, but it ended up being a V. So always remember that the fat cats are the ones that throw the money out there, and they're not always right. So, and I think a lot of them are going to learn a good lesson this week and have a little bit more respect for the retail trader. And in maybe 5 years from now, it's going to be nothing. That's all you're going to hear about. It's going to be the retail trader. There's going to be a lot more people investing in the market. Our economy is going to change. And I see the Dow maybe at 40,000 probably in 4 years. Easily 40,000, especially the way the momentum of the market is. Now, everybody knows what sectors I like right now, and that's the EV car sector and the tech sector, social media stuff, tech stuff, computers, and I also like marijuana sector. And it goes in spurts, and I think it's going to start building up momentum too. But it'll have a nice little run, then they'll pull back. The ones that's really I'm attracted to right now is CGC, That's the one I really like right now. And then there's some other ones that are undervalued. So it's always good to have you a watch list. I always talk about that. But you got to learn your own plan. You got to have your own steps. You got to learn how to trade on your own. You can't rely on other people's trades. You got to do your own homework, and you got to know when you want to get in and when you want to get out before you even take a trade. At least have that kind of thought. How you're going to do the trade? How's your plan? What's your 5 steps? And we're going to start looking at some stocks. So yes, Fubo. And that's another thing I want to start talk about. I think a lot of I heard last week that a lot of these low float runners that have been running real well, and then they try to these fat cats, and they're over exuberant. Irrational exuberance. That was what something Greenspan once said, and that's what we're living today. We're living that same period right now, but I think it's changed. It's changed a little bit. It's as the economy changes, the whole world changes. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. Be coherent of what's around you, of how the market is and what's new. I predict in probably 6 months we won't hear anything about COVID anymore, because I think it's kind of a big scheme to begin with, a good fearmonger. But I think it is real. I almost thought I had it there last year, but I had something else. I'm feeling 100% better now. 100%. But so always remember, just be cautious. Be cautious. Last week a couple weeks ago, I talked about overextended stocks. I hope you took that lesson pretty well, because it did happen this week. A lot of stuff got overextended, and there's ways to find a lot of them supports. They were easy to find, and I was calling them out in the room and calling them out on Discord, and I was calling them, not Discord, but StockTwits and Twitter. So I'm a technical trader more than I am a fundamental trader. I'm working on the fundamentals a lot more. I think everybody needs to improve on that. But I'm like price action. I like to buy at support and sell at resistance. And that's basically all I really want to talk about. And I think you all felt last week's pressure of just like shocked. KOSS run like it did, 300 and some 400%. You had a GME from $2 all the way up to 500. That's nuts. And I wish I would have had a little bit more foresight to hold them calls that I had. I mean, man, that would have been retirement for me right there. I know some that had some calls, and they definitely regretted not getting out of that trade that day. But you don't know, man. You just don't know. You don't know if that thing was going to shoot up like it did. And it was shot up already real well. So that's something we got to try to pick up on, these momentum trades. What's causing the momentum? A lot of it is the short squeeze and a low float. Now, if these things are low float like KOSS was and a couple of others, and they start shorting these breakouts, you can get in there and squeeze them pretty good. And I think that's what's happening. We're seeing breakouts that I haven't seen in my lifetime. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this, ever. I've seen them dip. I've seen them crash. I've seen the 08 and 07. I've seen them go down like this. I've seen the Carter years when the market crashed. And I've seen it during the Clinton years when the market just boomed. And I've seen it during the Obama years where it kind of was stagflation, but we still had a little slow rise in market. Not really a big steep step, but we did increase over, I think, 80% by the time it was said and done. But the crash was down to 6,000, and then it ran all the way up to 20. And I called 20,000 when it was at 6,000. I said, we're going to 20,000, and I'm telling you, we're going to 40 in 4 years, easily, if not sooner. So a lot of these green energy plays are going to be in play, a lot of EVs. So there's a lot of stuff surrounded by EV cars. That's what you got to start watching. We talk about them every day. Fubo's another one. It's not making much profit, but it's something into the future. A lot of companies don't make profit, and they're good, great companies. Amazon was one. It took many years. Tesla's another one. It took many years to start throwing a profit out there. But so you got to just kind of keep that in mind when you're watching these stocks. And we're going to go ahead and anybody else have any insight of what they felt like last week, please type it in the room. Maybe some of us can get a little bit off of that. But I was very excited last week. You know, I was kind of dumbfounded too, because I didn't know how to play these big breakouts that were running up like this, the momentum trades. I knew they were all, GameStop, what do they do? I mean, didn't it used to be the old Blockbuster that went bankrupt? They sell used videos. I mean, everything's gone digital, so this thing's way overpriced. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me, or did it make any sense to Bill Ackman? That's why he shorted it. And he got burned bad, and so did a lot of other, like Tony said, $70 billion was lost last year, but gained from the small cats that were retail traders that were trading it. And the market is an open, free market. We shouldn't be. It should be more open than what it is today. And like what he said there, we were more open-minded about it. The retail trader is. It's right out in the open. It's on the internet. We talk about it. These hedge fund guys, they get behind closed doors and they do their discussions. We've been in stocks. We've been in stocks and we sit there and we look at the news and all of a sudden you see a downgrade. Well, why in the hell are they downgrading something that's running up so well, that's doing good business? It's because they want to get in there and they want to try to short these stocks and take advantage of the market. It's as simple as that. And they've been doing it for years, many years, and they manipulate this market. And that's what, is it fair for them to manipulate the market and the retail trader not to manipulate the market? No, it's all manipulation. It's all pump and dumps. So that's what you got to keep in mind when you're trading these stocks. I mean, I've been watching them for many years, and I've watched them go up and I've watched them come back down. And I've only have one that I'm in love with, and that's Tesla. All these other ones I just care about, you know, I have feelings for. But I finally screwed up on Tesla last week, lost $600, and I've made 3 bad trades on Tesla in 10 years. So it kind of bummed me out a little bit, but that was my biggest mistake. And then the week before that was Fubo. So I'm having a little bitty rut, and I think that I need to get back a little bit to my basics. And I think that's what I try to remind myself, and you got to remind yourself when you're having bad. Nobody is perfect. Nobody. You're going to have bad trades. And if you can sleep it off and not lose sleep over them, you're doing fine, because you will rebound and you will bounce back. Just have a lot of effort, put your heart into it, and you'll become as good as many traders that I know. And I'm not as good as many traders as I know by far, but I've got a lot better in the past probably 5 years. I really started picking it up. I'm not as sharpest tool in the shed, but when I do something, I'm usually in the top 3. If it was in sports, or if it was in acting, or if it was in boxing or baseball or basketball, I could be the runt of the team, and then after a little bit of practice and a little bit of motivation, I become one of the top players. So it's just what you got to do with yourself. You got to treat it like a lifestyle and like a business, and have fun while you're doing it. And having that fun will really make a big difference too. So let's go ahead and talk about a few trades. Now, I don't know if I can look at Dodge. I don't know how to look it up on a chart. We'll go up here to the top. I got in NOK Friday, and I'm down about $90 on it. So always remember, help your loved ones. I want to welcome everybody to the room. Please, this will be recorded. You can go back and look at a lot of these. Please hit that like button so YouTube knows that I'm appreciated, and that I Love Stocks is appreciated. Miss Vegas, she's one of the best money flow people that I know in the room, that I know. And Tony and Basscat, I think I've learned a lot by watching the money. I've been a tape reader for many years, but I never really paid attention to the institutional buys, and because I just relied mostly on the tape, time and sales, and the level 2. I figured that was enough to tell me. But I'm learning a lot about the You got to be partners with these fat cats. I mean, and a lot of these guys that are putting this money in aren't these big hedge funds anymore. The people that I know that are making millions of dollars a week, a year. I mean, I know one that made $30 million last year. I know another guy that made 9. I know another one that made 10. So the money's out there. You just got to be a little smarter than, you know, most people out there. And have respect. Learn from everybody. Try not to be like you know it all. I had a guy last week on Twitter. He said, "You're doing a technical chart on AMC?" And I said, "Hell yeah, I am." I said, "What's a stupid question to ask?" I said, "I want to know when I want to get out of the trade, and I want to know when I want to get in. I want to know when I want to get out." I said, if you're just a fundamental trader, you ain't going to be worth the shit in this market. You got to watch that price action. You got to watch that money flow. That's where it all matters. I mean, stock could be doing crappy, and all of a sudden people start buying that, putting that money in there. Man, it's going to run up. So yeah, it kind of upset me last week. But I always have some dweeb out there that's going to say something stupid. And those are the ones that I don't appreciate much, but I do appreciate people that like to share their ideas and share their flaws, because I learn from beginners, and I think I've learned everything that I know, basically probably 95% from people that are beginner traders, because they're the ones that ask the questions, and then if you don't know them, you got to look them up, figure them out. That's how I've learned how to trade stocks. I've helped beginners out. And as I go through that, I'm able to learn from stuff that they ask, and because I don't know everything. I'm like I said, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. But I have a way of trading, and I have a 5-step program, and that's what I've tried to ask people in here. At least have a plan how you want to trade. Have an idea. So let's go ahead and talk about a few stocks. I got 2 different charts that I'm going to use today. I'm going to be using the SMA 50 and the 200, along with my RSI right here. And let me see which one it is. This was solo. And then I'm going to be using my Fibonacci setup, TTM squeeze. And I like to use these 2 charts. I use them in different time frames. I have 3 different time frames that I look at when I'm pulling up charts. And then if we're in a downtrend, I'll go back in many years. I can go back 10 years. I think when we had the crash during the COVID thing, I was going back 10 years and looking at charts, looking at support lines. So basically when I'm looking at, now I've kind of added the 3-year weekly. I use it a lot. Then I use the yearly daily. I use it a lot. Then I use the 20-day 1 hour. I use it quite a bit. And then I basically will go down and I'll go to the daily 1 minute. But I like using that hour. I know many of them like to use the 15-minute and 30-minute. And I've been starting to use that 30-minute just a little bit. But those are the time frames that I use when I'm charting up charts. Then I use these 2 different charts, and I've always have something new. The room knows I do these little case studies. They're just a simple reminder and a refresher course for me to remind myself of things that I used to do, and I want to just kind of pull them up because I use the VWAP. I have probably 8 or 9 different kind of chart settings that I use. I also use TrendSpider. There'll be a link down below if you want to start using TrendSpider. We'd appreciate it if you use our link, and then that way they recognize us. We get a small commission. But it's a pretty good little platform for beginners. It'll help you identify candlestick patterns. Let me pull it up here. Give a little shout out to TrendSpider. But always remember, them fat cats are our friends. So what I like about TrendSpider It has a lot of different tools that you're able to use over here on the left. You've got different, you got the automatic Fibonacci set up to where it automatically sets up your Fibonacci's. Let's say we want to put this up to a daily one. Here, what's wrong with you? Say we just want to put this up on a 1 minute time frame. So it kind of sets up your Fibonacci's already if you already want them set up. You have different kind of trends. You can hit the different trends, you know. Same as indicators. I got my indicators set up of what kind of the Bollinger Bands or whatever I want to do in here. I got the BBKC squeeze. That's a TTM squeeze. Simple moving averages. We got the heat map. See these patterns right here. You get different kind of candlestick patterns, and you're able to go through here and type in what kind of candlestick pattern you like. Right now I got the hammers on here. I got the hammers and I got the inverted hammer. If anybody knows what that is, I got the morning star on here. That's a nice little breakout pattern. We got the shooting star on here, another one. So yeah, you have different kind of patterns, chart patterns, and then they identify them patterns, like right in here. We got these inverse hammer, and we got a regular hammer. We got a regular hammer right here. We got an inverse hammer, which means going to have a sell-off. A lot of times when that wick is up there, you got this here's I'd say almost a bullish hammer, but it did pull back and kind of squeezed out. This is GME right now, so this thing's a little nuts in a way to begin with. Let's go take this to the 1 hour. You got your automatic Fibonacci set up on the 1 hour, and I could set these up differently. If I didn't want to do that, I can turn around and set up my own Fibonacci. You know, I could go up here and bam, and try to find the channel where I want to play, and maybe right in here would be about where I'd probably put it. I did have that's GME. I think I had a 187 somewhere around here pulled back on my regular chart that I called out last week. We hit that sucker right on, man. Bam! I mean, it was perfect. And we hit it twice. So you had two different times. But what was rough is a lot of times it happened during pre-market, and by the time that pre-market was up and you got into the option, it gets kind of screwed around on you. And then we couldn't trade it anyway because all the platforms are screwed up. And that kind of sucked. But that's TrendSpider, and it'll be a link down below. And it's just kind of a good tool for beginners if you're a beginner, or even if you want to learn how to chart patterns or look for candlestick ideas. So let's go ahead and get to the charts, and we'll start talking about some stocks. But that was my that's my SMA chart. Then we got the TTM squeeze chart that we're going to use right here. These have my different moving averages on here. I have the 200, I have the 100, I have the 34, and I have the 9. And those are the ones that I use. I like to use this 200 a lot basically on finding supports. As you see, the 200 held real well on Hexo right here, HEXO. We're creating a little flag, so it's starting to squeeze out. This thing should either go up or pull back next week. If it pulls back, we could see a little double bottom here at around 610, or maybe down here at the bottom at around 539. But that's my TTM squeeze chart, and I love using this thing. It kind of tells me where the trend's going, and tells me where the trend's going down, and you can tell by the red candles. So we're going to go up here, and I'm going to do a little watch list for us, and we'll kind of go in order. Please have the name of the game from here on out is I'm going to have you give me a ticker, and if some of these tickers don't come up that I want to look at, I'm going to pull them up and I'm going to look at them too, like COS, GME, AMC, any of those great runners last week, Space, maybe, I don't know, Fubo, stocks that I'm really interested in. So we're going to talk about the first one here. I'm going to be looking up here. I really want to appreciate everybody that showed up. Manuel, welcome to the room. Armin, welcome. Israel, welcome. Oh my gosh, good job, Israel. You like that Netflix put idea, huh? I'll tell you what, I was on it. And that's what we talked about in a couple lessons 2 weeks ago. Talked about how to identify an overextended stock. And last week came into play big time. I mean, they were all overextended. And that's what kind of threw everybody in a loop. These fat cats thought they'd go in there and short all this stuff. That they don't have enough respect for the retail trader yet. And just watching CNBC was a good a good invitation to that. That's for sure. Bastards. Okay, let's go. Netflix, we could talk about that one too. Tesla isn't worth what it is, why it is overvalued. Tesla isn't worth what it is, why is it overvalued? It's not always about profit. It's about innovation. It's about a new era. Now, if you did not hear, last week GM came out and said by the year of 2035 or something, they're all going to be all electric cars. I find that hard to believe because there's just going to be people that just going to want them gas cars. They're going to have to find a way to build electricity to run all these cars. So, it's going to be, if it ain't Elon's solar shingled houses or Elon's energy banks, so Tesla to me is not overvalued. It's expensive, but it's innovation. It's all about innovation. Same thing when I was calling out Bitcoin at 200. Same thing about when what was that? Microsoft. I said, man, during COVID, I said, the only company that should be moving up right now should be Microsoft. And it was a lagger. And then it finally started to take off. And we finally broke my resistance levels, but it took a good year. Remember, Microsoft was at 145 at the beginning of last year. Zoom was another example of innovation. People would never think Zoom would get to $500, but it did. So it sometimes it takes something outside to bring something up inside, and it was COVID that affected a lot of these stocks. And I think Elon came out with a car that is supposed to have the filters in it, and it's supposed to be COVID, virus free. You can get in your car and you won't have to worry about catching the virus from the air. And I thought that was kind of a neat little instrument to add to your collage of what you got in your cars. So I think it's an innovator. It's not all about cars, it's about tech. It's understanding, it's a tech company. So I still think that Tesla's going to go to 1,000 again, easily, because they're marking it up. I mean, people are coming out now saying, needs to go up to 1,000, but they've got so much competition. And some of these other companies are going to take some of that share away from Tesla. That's why we didn't see it. If it wasn't for these other companies coming out, Tesla would be back at 2,000. Easily. But some of these other car companies have took some of that market share off. CCIV is going to be another one that you're really going to have to watch, because I think this sucker will be $50 by the end of the year, if not sooner. NKLA, I'm iffy about. Workhorse, I kind of like it, but it's not. None of these have the strength. Nile, I like it too, but it's going to have times where it's going to pull back. But it's raising the bar. The bar is going up on the stock itself. So Tesla, I'm still 100% bullish on. Good job on Netflix. I'm real happy for you right there. Now, if you notice, it started running up a little bit. So let's type in Netflix. Let's get the show on the road. And then we're just going to talk stocks now instead of talk about. Oh, I got to turn that down. I don't want to hear that. I'm going to have to go get me some water here in a second. Yeah, Netflix started pulling back again. So we're going to raise the bar on this sucker. It's had its good little sell-off. If you notice, I have like a 7-day sell-off, 5-day sell-off plan. We had the 5 days right here, and then bam, she bounced up. So she pulled back a little bit. I want to keep this support level right here, right around 521. I'm going to raise the bar on it. Used to be around $500. When I say raise the bar, that means I'm raising the support level. I'm just going down to the bottom. And people that know me, and I'm going to go away from my purple and go back to yellow for this year because it's easier to read. People are easier to spot it. It just blends in too much with this background. And I've told people I change my colors on my trend lines every year because I can go back 2 or 3 years and use the same trend lines maybe 3 years ago for supports and resistance levels. The same exact ones. But I use the bodies of the candle. If anybody knows how I trade, I don't use the wicks. The wicks are a gift. The body is where all the blood is. So I think we could pull back here to 520 area at 520.67. That needs to hold. If not, anything below that's going to be a strong buy. And I say maybe that next support's going to be right at 514. I'm getting that from right over here. And we're going to be looking for patterns. Also, no lower than 5. I cannot see it going any lower than 5. If it does, that's going to be a very strong buy. Called this out 3 times last week or the week before when it got down below 5, and we had one of the best run. I mean, this sucker, if I was just in that trade right here, I would have retired that day. I mean, it ran up almost $100. I had 3 contracts of this. And I think it was like $6,000 or maybe higher than that if I remember right. And I took the profit that day and was happy with $300. And then bam, that next day, that's my biggest problem is trying to hold these trades when they break out. Because I know I can get back in them again. And I know these runs don't last. And who knows, it might not have even happened. But shit, I missed a good one on that one. So that low support that needs to hold is going to be at 520. And that's going to be Netflix. And good job on that, Israel. Good job. NOK. I got in NOK last week. Let me show you. Bad job. Right here. Sucker went down on me. First got in at 89 cents. I got in at February 19, $5 call. I bought 3 of them, and sucker just dipped right on me. Got down to 64, 65, so I bought me some more. Went ahead and turned around and bought 3 more. Now I have 6 with an average of 77. So I'm holding these long in case it goes down much farther, and I might just go ahead and, I hate to cut, but I still got a month on this one here, 3 more weeks, so I think I'm still going to be good to take a bounce back up. But that's NOK. But we're going to look at the chart and try to find some supports and resistance levels. I'm going to jot these down because I want to keep them on a watch list and watch them next week. NOK got that big government news, or that NASA news, if I remember right. Well, what's this here? Robinhood users agreement likely protects from lawsuits. Okay. I always like to look at the news when I'm looking into stock. All I can talk about is Robinhood. That's all we heard on CNBC last week. How much retail traders suck. We'll go ahead and clean this out. Start fresh. This is my SMA chart, we pulled right back to this 200. You know, I talk about that 200 a lot as a support level on the 20-day 1 hour. So I think we're ready for a reversal up. No lower than this 450 area for a support level. But we're going to jot her down to around 440. And a strong buy right here at this little candle at 420. If it dips down there, now I think we're ready to turn back up and bounce off this 200 SMA. If that does, then we have a target right around 523 to break. And that brings you up right up here to this resistance level of 532 off this here resistance high where we tried to break it a couple of times, 3 times. So that's going to be your quad. 1, 2, 3. Well, it's already been 4. I think it needs to reverse back up and break that 532. And that might be my little exit point if I get in this trade. I'm in the trade. That might be my exit point if we can't break 532 and then play the dip and take this channel and play this channel for a while. Anything past that's going to be a gift. If it starts to break this 532 and I start seeing momentum and volume and maybe watching cheddar flow or something and seeing people throwing some big money in this, I'll probably run it up here maybe to 587. That'd be my next little resistance level. And then if not, we'll take it up here to this next one at 659 and then a strong resistance at 690. And then everything else above that's going to be a gift for right now. This thing could run up back up to 10 on some more good news. But for right now, we're just going to play the 50 SMA. And if it doesn't break that 50 SMA, I'm out of the trade. Then I'll wait and play the pullback and keep it in this channel. That's going to be NOK. I hope that helps you out. I'm in it to win it. RMO. Picked up RMO last week around 17. Okay. Armin, let's look at it. RMO. I don't think I've ever looked at this one here before. We'll know if I have any. Nope, I don't have any trend lines on it, so that tells me something. Let's see what they do. What do they do? They got something to do with batteries? Yep. Well, that's going to be good. Garbage trucks. Romeo Power Service announces strategic alliance agreement, including vehicle test program. Kramer gives his opinion on this. Occidental Petroleum, Salesforce, and more. So I'm probably talking about that. Okay, I like it. Lion Electric's behind the partnership of Romeo. So they're planning to able to buy several sources from New Year's. Okay, that gets me a little excited because it's part of the EV sector, if I'm thinking right. Now, there's something else I want to pull up. You know, if you ever watch my lessons here, I like to pull up FINVIZ. And then I'll go up into this little box right here, and I'll type in RMO. RMO, yeah, this is a nice little support line they got right here on RMO. The float does not want to tell us what the float is. So let's go back to the chart. Let's look at the yearly real fast. I'm going to draw a low support right down here at 1559. That's where that kind of gap is right in here. It's kind of found support and broke out. And that next one is right in here. I'm taking it all the way across the line here. That's going to be the resistance that we got to break. It's going to be at 18 bucks. And then your next resistance is going to be right in here. I'm taking this next candle that's right here and moving it on up to 2027. So that's going to be and then the hard resistance is going to be this double top, triple top area, quad top right there at 23 bucks. That's going to be where you probably want to take the trade, get out of it. And then maybe if it doesn't hold this 1259, it could pull back to this 200 again and bounce off that 200. But I'm going to adjust that maybe right in here, right around 1356. Looks like it's in kind of a downtrend. So we're going to pull up the 20-day and see if we got a pocket pivot going on here. We had a little one right here, and she bounced up, pulled back. So she's trying to show a little bit of evidence that she's wanting to reverse. I'd say low support no lower than at 1559. That needs to hold. And the resistance to break's got to be this 1824 area, 1824 to 1856, right there. That 1859 area. If we can break past that, we're going to go up higher to these other resistance levels. And I'd almost adjust this before I'd hit this next one, maybe at 2177 area right there. But we got to break this hump here. So I'm thinking low support 1559. Resistance to break is going to be between 1824 and 1859. And if you can bust past that 1859, you'll definitely try to get to your 20. And that's going to be a hard resistance to break. That's going to be like the equilibrium, the pivot point of this 20-day channel. And what I mean by pivot point, you have a support, you have a pivot point, and you have a resistance. Pivot point is a decisive measure that tells you either it's going to go up or it's going to pull back. That's what you call a pivot point. You could use it as a resistance level, or you could use it as a support. For example, if she did break this pivot point area, she'd run up to resistance levels. Your third one would be probably right here at 2386. And if she decides to start to pull back, it can pull back to that pivot point and then hold and then bounce back up. Or you could be down here at low support and it would find resistance at that pivot point of 2027 and try to break it past through the resistance or pull back and find another support down here. So that's the difference between the support, pivot point, and resistance. So low support 1559. I like to see this 1718 hold, 1723. I'd like to see that hold to keep it in trend. And then we got to break the pivot point at 2027 up to the next three resistance lines. And they're on here for you, 2177, 2310, and 2386. Okay, RM Fubo. Let's do Fubo. Fubo, I love trading this stock. As you noticed, when I did the last video last week, I said we were ready for a pullback. And I illustrated why. Because idiots come out here. There's two reasons why. One was, anytime I see the word offering, I get a little skittish. And other traders get a little skittish because they don't know what it means. There's different kind of offerings. This was a senior note offering. And it's a little different than a regular offering, which is usually bad for a company. But Fubo does not have a lot of money, so they're not profitable. That's why they're having these offerings. That's why they're having these convertible senior notes. They're raising money to keep this business going. I see Fubo at $100, maybe by the end of the year. But for right now, it's going to be hard to break that 55 area. I do have a support channel on it. It's right down here at 35.97, and I called out that 4080. Well, I called out the 3906 area channel last Friday. I said this is probably the channel that it's going to pull back to, and we come close to it, but we just didn't hit it. It stayed on this next channel, which I really liked, was at 4083. Now, if this thing starts to reverse up, I'm seeing a little bit of higher highs right here. I think if we need to break a resistance level, it's going to be this 40.46. If we can break past this resistance right here, you see that? This little double top. I'm not using the wicks. I'm using the bodies of these candles. That's, to me, is where all the mustard is. And if we break that 44.46, we can start breaking these wick patterns. And that next one's going to be right here at 46.15. Then move her on up to these next resistance levels. I'm a little bearish, but I'm also bullish on the momentum behind Fubo, and I really like the company. I really like the news that's coming out. I think gambling's here to stay. That's another good thing about Fubo. And just this little offering caused us to pull back a little bit. But I think next week's coming, and the market has a very short attention span, very short. People that trade have very short. I've noticed that a lot of people that'll take a trade, and it runs up, they forget about it and they move on to others. I'll keep watching that same stock, and I'll keep playing that same ticker. I don't give up on these suckers because everything goes up, comes back down. So low strong buy here. If we do pull back, it's going to be no lower than 36 I mean. I like to raise the bar on my support level. I did have it down here at 30. That was my low support. And if we break, if we can hold this channel right in here, that's going to be good news for Fubo. If not, and pulls back, it's going to be a strong buy at 30. I don't see that happening. But you never know. You never know. I think this is going to be like the next Netflix and on and on. And this is just like the baby one before it starts to grow and expand and put teeth in its mouth. So resistance to break 44.46, and then a hard resistance up here at 49.31. And anything above that's going to be a gift for right now, and that's Fubo. We'll be watching that next week for sure. And on WEI, please. WEI 147 Wendell Lettertum. Let's see what they do here. I want to check two things. I want to check the size of the float. That'll tell me what kind of traders are in the trade. At 35 million, that's a very respectable float, very respectable. It's not in the low float category, but it is definitely a low floater. 25 million or under, I categorize as a low float. But anything under 100 million to me is a steady hold. Usually holds up better, not as volatile. We are in the trend of the trend line down here also. I'm going to pull up the web. Also, you can pull up the website on FinViz, just like I did. It's a Chinese play here. The largest auto-backed financing solution provider in China in terms of loan value. Company platform connects borrowers. Okay. Annual hold meeting 15th of December. So there ain't been no news. Whatever gains compliance after receipts of NASDAQ non-compliance letter. So they regained compliance. That's good on November 8th. Oh, what did that happen? Just checking it out here. Okay, well, I know what they do. I know they're a China play, so that's what I got to kind of keep in my head here. I'm going to pull up the year. I'm going to erase all this so I get a better picture of what's going on. Pull up the yearly. Going to look for a pivot point in this yearly chart. I see it right here. Actually, it might be a support level. Yeah, right about in here. Kind of want to go with this equilibrium right in here for a pivot point. At 147. And what did we close at? 147. So we closed right on that yearly pivot point. Resistance to break is going to be right here, right around the 172. Let me magnify this up so I can get this accurate. 175. That's where I'm going with for it to go up. And then bottom strong buy is going to be this double bottom area. And I'm going to adjust it to this candle right here. Right around 130. That 130's got to hold. Unless it holds this 200. But I think that 130 is a good entry. And then maybe run it up here to about 175. Anything above that's going to be a gift. You can probably take it up here right around the 184. Now, you know, our buddy up there at the White House now is buddies with China. He scored like $1.5 billion from him, so a lot of fat cats will be bullish on China a little bit. Let's start playing some of these downplayed markets. So 130, 147, resistance to break is going to be this 175 to 184. I'd give it probably a 6 out of 10 that we'll pull back to that 130. And if we do, that's going to be where you want to take the trade and maybe run it up here. And if we can break at 147, it's kind of choppy, you know, it's moving around a lot. There's another one right there at 157. So maybe if we get it at 130, we'll have a little resistance at 157. I'm seeing that on this chart. See that? You see that right there? And that there? And all this right in here, yeah. That 157 and a gift, 175, 184. And that's going to be WEI. IRTC. I will look at it. I hope that helped you out there on Romeo. Yeah, Fubo has a high short interest too, yes. That's another reason why I think this thing can go ahead and run up. Because they're going to be tricked in this sucker again. They've been shorting Fubo, they've been shorting Tesla, they've been shorting Nile. They've been shorting all these great runners that we've been playing. Wall Street doesn't know how to handle this. This thing's took a pretty big knife. IRTC. Rhythm says believes published rates or comments on contractor Novartis rates provide. I always like to read this news. Stanley Morgan maintains overweight 125, raises price target to 288. You might have a little bargain right here. This could be a nice little play come Monday. I like it. I like it a lot. I like this sell-off, especially with all these upgrades. 283, 288, 227. We're at 168 right now. We're going to wake up and this sucker's going to be here at 180 come Monday morning. We'll find a little resistance right here. Let's not forget this right over here, okay? But look at that. See? Look at where she pulled back to and closed. I didn't even pay attention to this. I paid attention to this right in here. And I said, maybe this could be a better little resistance area. I didn't know we closed at 168.42. So yeah, I think she pulled back to a good spot right here and closed right at a good spot for a return back up. I really do. Now, Tony, write these numbers down. I think we can take it to 183.04. Right there, where you see this candle right in here, that gap. And you see it pulled back right here. That's a real good resistance level to break. If we can break that, this sucker will run back up here to this next bar up here. And let's see what it kind of bleeds into. It bleeds into these candles right here, these wicks, pretty well. But I want to bring it down just a little bit lower to this level right in here. 197.34 off this pattern over here. If we can break past that, we can take it back up to this nice resistance right up here at 210. So yeah, I think this is a good trade. He did a smart move right here. Now why in the hell do I got two of these on here? Let me erase one of them. Yeah, I'll stick with that. Yeah, I think this is going to do nothing but reverse. It depends on the conditions, how the market reacts, how the algorithms are running. But with the overweight, I think this maintains a buy rating. And I think it's going to reverse. This is a nice buy, actually. It's a nice dip. Nice dip. So 169.48, 181.53. And then you got 197.34, and then maybe take profit at 210, unless she keeps on running up. But I like this one a lot. IRTC. Thank you. It might be a play for me Monday. If it pulls back any, I might jump right into it. I can't see it going. And look at here. You see this candle right here? Look at that. I mean, damn, I wish I saw this Friday. 134.85. That would have been a sweet trade right there. See how it found resistance? Found support off this big candle here and off this resistance level. It fell right perfect to it. And that's what's so neat about learning how to draw these trend lines and how to become a good technical trader. Every history repeats itself many times. Many times. This is like a pivot point on the year right here. Traded a new channel up above it. Beautiful. I think it's a wonderful play. So we got IRTC. I really like it. Jot that down on your all's paper. They're in at 143, 148. Oh my gosh. SNDL, is that what it is? If you can, type these in capital letters. So I've got old trend lines on here. We're going to erase them. They go back 3 years ago. We're going to look at SNDL. Now this is one that I'm going to be bullish on. I kind of charted this out. I think it's going to pull back a little bit. See, we had a little bit of resistance right up in here on this upper part, right around 111.75. I'm going to adjust it down here to this double top that you see right in here at 91.97. Low support at 51.40. Then strong buy down. Oh no, I don't want to see it go lower than that. Maybe right there. I'm counting in this spot right in here. Oh shit. Bam. Yeah, put that perfect almost on there. I think I'll adjust it just a little bit. Bam. Okay. I'll put another one right here. I like that spot very well. Okay. Bring us to the 20-day and see if I missed anything. Right now, you can't really tell what I'm doing, but we'll get just to the 20-day. Everything looks so much better now. So much better. Okay, we've got a little, this is what you call a pennant flag. This is a pennant flag, or symmetrical pennant flag. Right there, and then she probably comes right down about here, moves on up. So that's a nice little symmetrical pennant flag right here, and like it's getting ready to go ahead and move on up and break out. So that resistance level we got to look at, it's going to be right here at the 101 area, 101.63. I don't think there's any reason why it dipped like it did. This is a marijuana stock. Oh, here we go. 129. Growers report a $100 million offering. I didn't want to see that yet. That don't tell me nothing. That don't tell me shit either. This will. Announces has the best efforts of 100 million shares of A units, the common shares of 1/2 of the consisting Yeah, I think this is going to pull back a little bit. Sale price of 75. These are warrants. These are A unit, 75 cents a share. It only means to supplement the upcoming prospectus. Yeah, they're needing money. Okay, let's kind of change my attitude a little bit. If we hold this and we break out above this 91, 97, this 89, 90 area, we'll move on up. If not, I think we can pull back, and I'm going to try to find a real solid support right here, right around the 50, this area right in here, 51.4, 514 area. It's going to be a strong buy. I'm going to turn that into a green line. This is going to be SNDL. I think it's a momentum play. The 20-day pivot point is right here, right around 72. So we got a strong buy at 51.40. And then resistances are going to be right in here, right around the 60.39 to 72. Now, if this 72 holds, we can break it up, and it can move on up to about $1. Anything above that's going to be a gift. If you start seeing the volume come in, but it's had an offering, and I don't appreciate that much. I think it could cause it to pull back a little bit, and then the short attention span on traders will forget about it, to move on up. But I have it on my watch list, SNDL. So I give it probably a 4 or 5 out of 10 rating right now, in a way. That's just the way my opinion is. Okay. We did RMO, WEI, IRTC, SNDL. Good to see you too, Chris. Josie, what you got for me? You want me to look at DDD? Jimmy got in DDD on accident. I want to make that clear. I did something last Friday that I have never done before. I was getting kind of blasting it, ding thing, blasting my ear, trade ideas, and I was just getting kind of fed up with it. So Miss Vegas called out DDD, and I looked at it, and there was a huge spread on it, just a huge spread on the option. And not 2Ds, not triple D. And so I'm sitting here at my desk, and I'm looking at February 19th, and there was just a huge spread between like $2 to $6 to $5. So I said, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to put an order in for this 220 because it was at $2. So I sat here and I looked at it and I set the order up. I was getting ready to buy it, and I was getting ready to send the review, and I said, so I didn't take the order yet. And I said, okay. I still had my hand on the mouse, and I was going to go in there and take a real fast shower, kind of cool down a little bit. And when I got up out of my chair, my finger hit the right click on the mouse, and it sent the order in, and I didn't know it. So after I got out of the shower, about 5 minutes later, I looked at my P&L. Well, now it's down to 14. That don't make no sense. Well, it was up. It still is up, I think. It was up like 156 Friday. And I think I'm going to come in here tomorrow and it's going to be up again, or Monday. But it was an accident trade that I didn't mean to take. And when I came back out of my shower, I was up $156. And I think I'm up that still on it. But let's go ahead and look at the chart. I've never done that before. Out of the 15 years, it was an accident buy. But I was going to try to do something different. And I spread that big. I said, what the heck? Let me throw in $2.20 and see what happens. Let's look at the yearly chart. We got a flag. We've got a pennant flag. No, that's not the right stock, you idiot. There was, I think Josie put something in the room about a news article, said that the earnings might be better than what people anticipated. Let me see if I can find that real fast. can't find it right yet. But I think I read something about it. But I also seen some downgrades on it too after I got in the trade. So I was a little etsy to get into the trade. But they have here a price target downgrades DuPont to neutral, announces an $83 price target. So it's definitely pulled back to that 80, below that 83. And we got another price, adjust price target to 90 from 60. So we got, and it was downgraded too, to neutral. Raises price target to 94 from 93. You know, 2 days ago, a buy rating. So we have mixed messages from the fat cats on here. That's easy to see. We'll go ahead and take this off. We'll pull up the yearly. We had a nice little breakout on this thing, and I'm going to pull up the Fibonacci one. Pull this up on the year again. Oh, I hate to see it go down any farther than this. This kind of scares me too, because this had such a great run, you know, from the recovery. Down here, when we had to pull back to 28.33, and it ran all the way up to 87. So that's like a 300% increase. I had these big candles. I had a low support right down here off this 34. Let me look at the 20-day and see if that tells me any different. Why I come up with that. Yeah, definitely come up with it because of these candles right here. So we got another support level right here at 77.79. So it's kind of an equilibrium right here. We've got the downgrades and the upgrades on it. Some people think the earnings are going to be better than what they are, which I kind of might think so too. A lot of people did a lot of moving last year. A lot of people have been working on their houses last year. Been doing a lot of painting. A lot of construction going on. A lot of these storms that came in last year, I think it just probably might have pushed this stock to why it's did. And we've had a pretty good little sell-off on here in the last 2.5 weeks. 3 weeks, 5, 10, 15. So I'm building a little flag right here. I don't want to see it pull back to the 78. If that is, that's going to probably be a strong buy. Resistance to break is going to be right here, right around the 81.20. If we can get past 81.20, we'll move it up to this next resistance at 82.02. And then final resistance right around 83.47 with a strong sell up in this area. I'm thinking right around 84.79 to maybe this 85.19 area. So like to see this support hold at 77, 78, 77.9, just rounded off to 78 for a hold, for a buy, for double bottom. That would like to see that hold, and I'd like to see resistance to break at 81.20. If we can bust past that 81.20, we'll move it on up, and then we'll definitely try to break 82. And then we have 83.47, and then it starts getting a little bit leery, but she can run back up. But the hard resistance to break is going to be this 81.20 to 82.02 with a support at 78. And that's going to be DD, and I'm in it. So the next one we're going to talk about Dodge. I don't know if I can pull up Dodge. IRTC. We did IRTC already. We did NOKOA already. LMND. Did I miss that one? Yep. Lemonade. Hello, Amanda. You're my favorite girl besides Josie. So let me see here. LM Lemonade. We talked about this one. last week. Had a nice little pop on it. She ran up, broke my resistance levels. So now she's pulled back to the support level here. I don't think no lower needs to hold this 138.79. That's going to be your solid support. If it pulls down one more leg, I bet you if it pulls down to 138.79, you'll get a nice reversal back up to this 152 area right in here. And this could probably go ahead and bleed on up here to right around 160, 159. Yeah, 159.70. And I like this spot too. That's going to be a little resistance level right in here to break. So you've seen we had like a little 5-day sell-off here, 4-day sell-off, and she run up. Now we're on to the 3rd day. So if it pulls back one more day, I probably would be able to get into this trade at 138.79. Hold this double bottom right here, and then run it back up to the resistance channel of 159. So that's between 138, 159 with an equilibrium in the channel right here, and that's got to have to break at 147.65. I like that. I like lemonade. I always wish I'd come up with a different name. It's a momentum play. It does, it does have its runs and it does have its pullbacks. And that's what I'm seeing right now. Nice little run, nice little pullback. Nice run, nice pullback. We just try to hold this 138.79 on LMND. I hope that helps you out, my good friend. Okay, next one. Now you can go back through this video, and I've talked about some of these that I'm going to skip already. And you can just, after it's done its cycle and it's on YouTube, because it will be recorded. Check out GSUM. I always like that name. Francisco, welcome. See you. Good to see you again. I like seeing people that return because it makes me feel good that you want to learn, and then I want to learn from you. So what was that, Francisco? Check out GSUM. I'm going on the GSUM trail. Where's my cowboy hat? Ooh, GSUM got GSUM'd after hours. Let's see what we got here. When I see a pullback like that, first thing I want to do is check out the news and the float. So on FinViz, it says it's about a little over 21 million float. I just want to pull up their website and have a little gander at it here. Another China play. Boy, you guys like these China plays, don't you? I used to have a translator box up here, but I don't see it popping up like it used to. What the hell? I can't read Chinese. Well, I'll have to go back to... I want to figure out what these guys do. So what I do now is I type in GSUM. Let's see if I've charted this up any. Heck, they don't even have a website. Come on, guys. Oh, what am I doing? I want to read description. Provide data analytic software for enterprise government agencies of China. Ooh. Monitoring optimism, contribution to track intelligence. So this is kind of an iffy stock to me too. But I got a bias with China. So let's pull up the, there we go. Nice little golden cross here on it. It's had a pretty nice little run. It's held this channel pretty well. So it's got a lot of good things going for it. I can't see it going any lower and holding this support level at 160 area. You see that? How we've held that and bounced up? And then we've got a little resistance. So we got what you call, this is called a channel. This is called about a 4 or 5 month channel that runs side by side. I want to look in this channel and try to find an equilibrium, a pivot point area. That's going to be right in here, right here off these highs. And why I say that, I'll show you. Because we couldn't break below it here, then we couldn't break above it here. And once we did break above it, she broke out to the next resistance level. So let's see if we can go back a little farther, see if there's other resistance levels on this here that can take us a little higher. Ooh, look at that. Like I said, we got a new guy in office now, and you're going to see a lot of these China stocks start to reappear and start to bounce back up. Because he's in bed with these guys. In the 238 area. And then maybe right down here, I'm looking at this candle right in here, this big engulfing candle. Then we got some resistance levels right in here, 274. So I'm iffy on it. I mean, I'm not as biased as kind of like the little rebound we've had here, and how she holds these channels pretty well. If we do get another knife, no lower than this 114 area. We're going to pull up the 20-day, 1 hour. There's a lot of stuff in here I missed. A lot of stuff. So we pulled back. Oh, pulled back to a perfect support level right here. See this? All this channel right in here is 170. She pulled back right to that 170. Okay, 170 is going to be your little pivot point area on the chart on the 20-day. So we want to keep it above this 170 area. Anything below that's going to be a strong buy, especially if it pulls back to this 160. The resistance to break, we'll just take it on up here to this 178, and then long 185 to 186. So 186, 185, what's a penny? But that penny could be a lot, because it could bounce up to that 186 and break on out to newer highs. And we've got a long ways to go. If she does start to pick up some momentum, the sucker could run all the way up to this area right up in here, right around 370. Or even that 274 area. This new channel, oh, this is a good spot right here. Take it, make that green. So that's going to be kind of your place to break is going to be right there at 238. If we can get to this 238, that's anything above that, it's going to be a gift. And it could run to 274 after that 238 area. So write these numbers down. And we'll take one more look at the 1 hour. Yeah, I want to see this 170 hold. I really do. I think that's a real strong support area. 170 to hold, and then break resistance of 178 all the way up to this 185, and then anything above that's going to be a gift. I mean, we've got a 193 up here somewhere. Something bounced on up here. So I'm probably rated 6 out of 10 on it. I want to see it hold this 170. If not, we'll pull back to a low of 160, and that's going to be your solid support. And resistance to break again. I just saw this right here, so I'm adjusting it to 184. See, I've missed all these little candles right here, 184. That's going to be GSUM. I'll be watching this on Monday. I think I was watching it last week too. Give it about a 6. But China plays are going to be a little bit more bullish from here on out. They have a meeting on the 22nd to approve the merger. Yeah, that'll be good news for it. SPI We've got about 20 more minutes to go. Okay. SPI, this sucker's had some real nice runs. Anybody remember the big breakout on it? Yeah, had another one of them overextended stocks. Now you don't think GME's overextended? You need to go see a psychiatrist. This thing was coming all the way from 257 all the way to 483. $500 if I remember right. But if you don't think this stock's overextended, I want you to go see a psychiatrist Monday. So what was we talking about? You got me looking at that stock. SPI. So I like this stock. I truly do. I think if we could hold this 50, that'd be a real good news. But we got a strong buy down here right around the 170, 745 area. And we got this spot right in here at 871. Then I'm going to bring it up just one more bar to 961 area. Get it off these candles right in here. This little high we had right in here. In fact, I'm going to maybe see what we got here. Be able to look at it a little bit tighter this way. Yeah, I like the spot here. Got that candle right there, and then all these little spots at equilibrium in this channel to that high right there. So that's right around 1195. And then this one right up in here. I like that a lot. That's where he had that huge breakout. See that? I don't think you'll see that again. If I remember right, this might have been it. Let me see the float on the sucker. Gone, 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 and gone. This is a low float of 7.4 million. It's kind of holding trend pretty well. It fell back to a trend line here on a 5-day sell-off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there goes my 5-day rule. Goes into effect. If you don't know what my 5-day rule is, I count a stock that goes up 5 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I count them down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll see this a lot. A lot of professional traders look at the 7-day. I think 7 days is a little overextended. So I look at a 5-day run. And if I'm a 3-day to a 5-day kind of guy, you know. But we've had the 5-day run going up and we've had the 5-day run going back. This would have to take some bad news for it to be any good. Let me see. SPI Energy Board approval to spin off Phoenix Motor Cars. Oh. Well. We got a lot of stuff going on. I want to get into the car business here. Signs management agreement in preparation to purchase Dean's 14% subsidiary hires him, so they hired somebody. Okay, well, I'm bullish on it. TTM trends tell me it's getting ready to squeeze. It's on an uptrend right here. We had our 5-day sell-off, so we've got a resistance level to break, and that's going to be right in this channel right in here, right about there, where we had this little bottom in here. We had the candle touch right in there, and it's all been like an equilibrium. We couldn't break resistance there, so right around that 1054 area. We got low support to hold right here at 836. That's where I'm going to put my green line. I want to see that hold. No lower. So you got 3 support levels. Well, actually 2, but let's make another one. Put the other one right here. Try to find an equilibrium in this channel. Okay, I got 3 supports. I'd like to see this 836 hold for a strong buy. If it does kind of pull back pre-market and then start to bounce back up. Resistance to break or support to hold is going to be this 961. You can see what I'm talking about. We had a quad top. Took 4 times for it to finally break out. Then we had the 5-day run. Then we had 5-day pullback. So resistance to break is going to be definitely this 961, or a hold support means we closed at 975, but we did pull back to that 964. So I'm thinking we need to raise it up the bar to about 1054, and if that breaks, we can take it up here to around 1117 to 1195 to maybe right around 13 bucks. Strong buy no lower than I think than 836 to get into the trade, and then kind of I like to see it hold this because that means we broke out of a channel. It's this channel it took for about 10 days to break, and we kind of pulled back and dropped below it, but it did close at the top of that channel, which is a good sign to me that we could start to see a reversal play to resistance right around 1195. I like it, and I'm going to put it on watch. It's going to have a star behind me. I'm seeing probably a couple in here that I really like a lot. IRTC, LMND, SPI, Fubo, Netflix, and NOK I'm a little iffy about. I didn't want to get into the trade, but I did. The next one, I hope that helped you out a little bit on SPI, if you're still in the room. We've got 21 in here. Welcome. Israel. Airbnb, okay. So we got Lemonade, we did Nikilla, we did Fubo, we did SNDL. We took care of the merger here of GSUM. We got SPI, and we're going to look at LAZR. Laser beam in my stream. Or in my dream. Let's do 2 charts here. Let's clear this sucker out so I can read it. We're pretty motivated on LAZR. It's had a pretty nice little run. I'm going to pull up my equilibrium, my Fibonacci chart on here on the yearly. Let's see about where that 50% is. I always like to look for that 50%. We've got a support level right there at 29.63. Maybe a strong buy here at 27. Where's that candle at? 27 something. Right there. 27.67. Then a strong buy down here if it, I don't see it going down to that, but if there's a crash or something, maybe at 22.60. Resistance to break. Let's bring this. I don't want to go off these candles. I want to make a little bigger picture here. I'm trying to look for equilibrium. What I'm doing is I'm lining up these candles. I'm looking at the bases only, and then I'm matching them up with wicks as I go down the chart. I'm just trying to find where these match up the most, and that gives me some kind of equilibrium where the channel, where that trend line is going to fall. And I'm thinking right in here, I'm going to lower it just a little bit, right there, at 33.17. We closed at 32.70. This is LAZR, and we got another one right up in here. I'm looking at these 2 big blocks right here. This block on this here spinning top or a hammer. I don't know what you want to call that. Then strong sell right here at 37.39. I like LAZR. I think it can pull back to this lower support here at 20, little under 30 at 29.63, and if that holds, we can retrace it back up and build this channel in here, which would take you from 29.63 all the way to 37.39. Anything above that's going to be a gift. That's LAZR. Got a few more minutes, 7 more minutes. So we got bingo. Wow, we got a lot of people in here. Hey, Limerick. Welcome. Thanks for showing up. I'll do Oracle, ORCL. I don't want to Dodge. I can't do. You know I like DDD, Josie. ORCL. Now, Oracle, I think we kind of jumped into this trade last week too. Microsoft Cloud business, wasn't that a great trade last week? Shouldn't we go over that one? I heard some good stuff about Oracle last week. Oracle reports its cloud marketplace now available to U.S. government customers. I think it's probably what I heard. India to permanently ban TikTok, 58 other Chinese apps. Wow. Cloud. This is all about the cloud. The cloud's been a big thing here. That was another sector that caused this market to run. It was a cloud breakout. And now it's the 5G. So I kind of like the news. I want to clean this up so we can have a better picture of it. This is going to be OR. I might extend this out a little bit longer because I got a few more tickers in here I see that I need to be doing. We're going to look for an equilibrium on this chart. And it's going to be right here, where this had this hump right here. That's going to be your pivot point on the yearly. And it runs right into this 200, which is a good second indicator. Remember, I like to talk about 5 steps, 5 criterias before I get into a trade. Got to have good news. Got to have good setup. Got to have good pattern. Got to have volume. Right there, 58.58, 58.88. Then another one right here at, I'm looking for these tops right in here. It's like an equilibrium in this channel. And she pulled back right to that. So that's pretty good. I didn't even notice this over here until I charted these lines in, and then I seen that. So that's that good evidence. And we got a resistance to break right here at 62.57. And I think we can run this back up. Low support, no lower than 57.64. If she dives on us, I'd like to see that hold and bounce off this 200. So many times, see how strong that 200 is on the yearly? This is the EMA. This is the EMA. Bounced off of it there, bounced off of it there, bounced off of it there. And I'm saying it could bounce off of it again, but we did find a hard support right here. We've had a double bottom. See that? So maybe she can retrace back up and try to break resistance of 62.57. And then if that breaks, we can run it up here right around 63.71, going in between this candle right here and this right in here to a high, a double top high of right around 65.35. So that's going to be it. I'd like to see this low support hold at 57.64, 58.88, and that's 60.18 to hold with resist. Ooh, I missed this. I got to put that line in there. 61.62, 62.57, 63.71. But actually, we need to try to break this 62.57. If that can happen, we'll move up higher. If not, it can pull back. Okay? That 62.57 is going to mean a lot. We couldn't break it here, and we couldn't break it there. Okay? So keep that in mind. If you're in the trade from lower down here, or if you got in it Friday here, keep that 62.57 in mind. If we can break past that, we'll take it up to these next 63.71 and 65.35. That's Oracle. Okay, and then we got, you're welcome, Amanda. You're such a sweet person. Bingo. We like a bingo. I like the bongo. I like to go. Don't let me know. We're going to clean this out. I'm a little crazy. Wow, what a run. What a run. It's held up pretty good. I mean, all in all, it's held up pretty good. It's a real steep trend line. This kind of scares me a little bit, but I mean, it's held up the trend line pretty well. Let's see if we can do something different here. I'm going to draw me a trend line to the right here. See that? I always like when I'm seeing something like this, I'll go from this candle right here to the next pullback, and I'll go ahead and extend it on out to the right. And you see how it followed that trend line all the way down, except right in here. But it did touch down here, and it looked like it was going to do it Friday here. So that's going to be like a little support area, and we're going to do it right on the base of this candlestick, right there at 1056. Shit. 1056. What did I say? Yeah, right here. Now I've changed my number to 1051. I'd like to see that hold. If not, we could pull back to the base of this candle here at 981 and maybe here at 894. And the resistance to break is going to be right up in here, right around the 1138. So I'm not messing around with them wicks. It's the bodies of the candle. And I'm finding the strength. So we need to hold this support right here at 1051. If that holds, we're going to move on up. I think that trend bar right there is going to run right into that 1051 come Monday. It could pull back to that area and then try to bounce back up. And then find some resistance here right around the 1258. But first, that first one's going to break here at 1136. So this is how I see it. I see a strong buy down here right under 10 bucks, 981, maybe 894 if it doesn't hold this support level. If it does hold the first support at 1051, we can run it back up and break resistance at 1136, 1218, 1258, and then double top at 1343. So I'm bullish, probably 8 out of 10 on Bongo. BNGO. Okay, Bongo. There you go, Robert. I hope that helped out a little bit. Naked. If you haven't, I want to get naked. Naked's had a nice little 3-day breakout here. So let's pull up the 20. Let's erase all this crap. Draw me a little line off this candle right over here. Right off that body right there. That's going to be the start of it. Then we're going to do another one right here. Under that. Then we're going to go down to the bottom down here at 58. Now this is naked, NAKD. We called this out in the room pretty good. Miss Vegas was on this like a grasshopper in a clover patch. Okay, let's bring this to the 20-day. No, let's draw this trend line up here first. 223. 225. Then we're going to pull up the 20-day. Yeah, this is what you call a pennant flag. You have that big, nice little breakout, and then she runs up, and then she pulls back. So that's a pennant flag. That's a bullish indicator. It's held trend line pretty good. Right here, right there. We extend this to the right. So that's, and then we're going to go ahead and pull this on back right here. Well, it's a sloppy pennant flag, but it definitely, I'd like to see some of these bodies come up here a little bit higher to the max. So we've got a support line right here. Whoops. But she really liked this one here last week, and I took the trade at, I can't remember what I got in it when I got out, but I made like 30 some cents. 36 cents, I think it was a share. And then it went ahead and just blew up after hours, and then pre-market, and then pulled back to support level. So this little area right in here at 137 is going to be like your strong place to hold. This is going to be naked. So I'm going to put a green line right there. And that first strong buy, if it goes down below $1, I think I called 117 in the room, 120 for a support level, and we pulled back to it on Thursday, and we had a nice little run up. So the higher highs are getting lower. I got to put a trend line right here. Okay, naked. Let's look at a yearly chart just to see the history of the stock. It hasn't done much. Been kind of 2 or 3 years. Had a nice breakout back here. If that was an offering, I don't know. Then she sold off real hard, so she don't hold up very well. Not at all. Let's go to the, whoops, you idiot. Go back to the 20-day. Okay, what we want to hold is this 139. I don't think it will. I think it can pull back right around to this 86 area. And that's going to be a very strong buy. If we pull back to that 86, just because that 200's right there, that EMA, that to me is going to be a very strong buy to retrace it back up. But I got to keep in mind this green line because we pulled back here before, which gives it a little bit stronger resilience, a little stronger support area, and that's going to be that 139. And I think I was calling 136 last week in the room for a support level, and we pulled back to it and bounced on up to this 198. This is one you want to take the run each day because it will pull back the next day. And if it does, it does. But we're in the squeeze. It's getting ready to squeeze right here. So we're going to know something Monday. If it pulls back to this 139, 136 and hold, that's great. If not, we could probably see it down here right around the 92 area to that 86. And that's going to be naked. And resistance to break is going to be right here, right around the 198. If we can break past that, we can take it up here to 225, and then you've got other channels to go up to 239 and 268. So then we're going to go ahead and do I like IDEX, so I'm going to do it too. I think we had a bounce off this last week when I called it last Sunday. I think we did this in the room last Sunday or the 1 week before it, and it bounced up from there. I'm liking this stock here. I'm liking the way it's trending up. And I'll show you what I mean by trend. I showed you a little bit before, and I'm going to show you a little bit now. See, we did have one little trend line right here where she went up. Then we had like a little overlaps right in here where she kind of just pulled back a little too much. But I can see it because of this triple bottom. 1, 2, and 3. Kind of held pretty good, and you had your 5-day sell-off. Then you had your 3-day pull back. So this is very impressive. Very impressive, IDEX. Resistance we got to break is going to be right here at 434. Right there, 434. And support area, it's going to be this green line at 362. If that holds, we're going to be fine. If not, she'll pull back to this other support level. That's going. I'm going to adjust it a little bit because we've had this little run. Look, they're right around $3, 307. So that's, and or it could pull back to this 200. So this is how I look at it. I look at 307 to hold. If it does start to knife and pull back on us, I like to see that 307 hold. I really like how it held here. Then we had that big breakout. If not, that first support's going to be right here where we had the triple top at 362. And if that holds, that'll be great because that means we're going to start a new channel between 362 and 434. And then that's going to be a hard resistance to break on IDEX. Now, I like this stock and I like this company. This is one you need to have on your watch list because you could play pullbacks pretty good on this. And this is one I'm going to start looking at more often. In fact, I'm going to put a star on it so I can remind myself. Jimmy likes. It is another China play. Yeah, I got you. I'm watching BRGS2. It's spike after hours. It tamed to look at. You have time. Look at MVIS. Okay. Your wish is granted. Here's another one that's held trend pretty well. See how she's held trend pretty well? I always like to look at that when I'm seeing an upward pattern. I like to see if it's holding trend very well. You dog. Why did it do that? So I'm taking these candles right in here. I'm going to move this to the right. A little oversell off there, but she bounced right back up when she went over that, below that line. We pulled back and hit the 200 how many times? We bounced off that 200. So that's going to be a nice little trend line to follow. And we did break below it on Friday. So maybe you could pull back to a support level of right around 656. The bottom of this here where it held support for quite a while, for about a week and a half. And maybe that 656 could be a solid support. If not, we could pull back to this other one right here. And that's going to be no lower than 620. $7.99. Okay, this is MVIS, Microvision. Strong support. Now this, you know what this line is right here on a 20-day? Talked about it a little bit earlier. Talked about a pivot point, right? That's a pivot point on the 20-day. We got 27 people in here. Thanks a lot, man. So that 620 is going to be like a pivot point on the 20 days. So I'm going to call that a strong support. I want to turn that thing green. Green as in money. So we got the 620 at 656, and support to hold is going to be this 200 EMA on the 20-day 1 hour. You know, these moving averages change in every time frame. They're not the same. So you got to learn how to adjust what time frame works best for you. And to me, I've already showed you my 3 time frames that I play off of. And the 4th one was a 3-year weekly. For the ones that just showed up to the room, I'll repeat that. It's the yearly daily. I like to look at the 20-day 1 hour and the daily 1 minute. And I scalp many times off that daily 1 minute. I look at them candles on that daily 1 minute. That tells me the direction that the stock's going to go. I can spot them. Sometimes I'm not spotting them perfect, but I can spot the turnarounds real fast before others do, before the money starts to get in there or before the selling starts to hit. So I'm always out of the trade when it's real hot, and I'm in the trade when it's real cold. It's called buying at support and selling at resistance. So we're going to maybe pull back to this 200 and hold. That's going to be your first support. Your second one's going to be the 656 to 620 needs to hold if it does knife on us. We could have one more day of sell-off because we're going to look at the 5-day program here. If we have one more day, I think we can start turning around on Tuesday. That's going to be MVIS. Resistance to break is going to be right here, right around the 733 where we had this quad top. And anybody see this pattern right here? This more or less is a sloppy ascending triangle with higher lows and higher highs. So that's like almost an upward wedge. And then she went ahead and bounced on up and broke out of that wedge. Gotta make sure you drink enough water. I drink plenty of it. I'm just a big old water balloon ready to pop. Strong buy down here at 620. Then we've got this first support right here at 702. That second support is going to be at 656. Resistance to break is going to be right here at 734, 755, and take it up to 799. If that can break, we can double top at 832 and break this pattern. But right now, we need one more day to pull back. That's my opinion. MVIS. Okay, I'm watching Bregs. Did we talk about Bregs yet? No, I looked at MVIS. Okay, I bought calls and they spiked to $80. Whoa, Francisco. Money man. Where can I go to learn how to read section files? I guess we have to kind of Google that and see if we can find it. I'll find it for you right here. I think you just got to kind of Google it and look around for it. There you go. That might be a start. Look on that U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. I'm trying to run around through there and see if you can find anything. Okay. This is a long hold. Okay. I'll take your word for it. SPI. Well. Ain't the SPI a tricky one to be calling right now? I'm kind of don't know. Every day the market surprises me, so I can't always come in here and say I'm bearish every day. But I felt that last week because all I could see was these certain tickers run, and that was it. And there was a couple of days where the scanner was acting so funky, like we were having a real bad red day, but it was green all day. And then we had a green day and it was red all day on the scanner, and I just couldn't figure out what was going on there. And then we had a pretty red day on Friday, but still I think we closed green. So what are we looking at next? Mash the like button for Jim, please. Everybody in the room, hit that like button. SPI, that's what I was going to look at. Let's go to this chart right here. SPY, SPI. Looks like I cleaned her up pretty much. Okay, now we're going to look at the yearly chart on the SPI. You see where we're standing right now? You know what that green line represents? It's called the 50 SMA. So I think we can pull back more. Okay, that's just my opinion. I think we can pull back to this top right here. This is like a real solid area right in here, right around the 363 area. And I'm going to be a little bullish on the market. A little bullish. I like this a little bit better right in here. A little bearish, I mean. It wouldn't be bad to see another good week of sell-off, tell you the truth. That some of these big, huge runners kind of pull back a little bit. But you're going to have, you have a scanner like us and a Vegas like us and other people in the room, Basscat and Josie and just all these other talented people alerting tickers. We're always alerting the ones that are really moving. We're kind of like the bull room of the Discord channel. We don't short much, but I have here lately because I've just seen too much irrational exuberance. Way too much. Okay, let's bring us to the 20-day. I'm drawing a few trend lines on here. Had a pretty good little sell-off. Then we had that nice little bounce here. So look at that. That's nuts. That'd been a pretty good trade right there. So let's pull this back here, right down here on the 20-day at 366, and right in here. Now, she does have some pretty good sell-offs here lately. Don't look like it lasts more than 3 days, a couple days at a time. Kind of a hilly. And this one here, just gross. That one right there. Come on. Quit messing with me. Okay. We're seeing a double bottom on the 20-day at 366.28 to 367. Right in here. So I'm going to color this in. I'm going to color that in because that to me is going to be the support channel. And strong buy at 360. No, I'll adjust that to this 364.82. I'll use that wick right there. Then I'm going to have to close this down here shortly. I'll see if there's any. I'll do a couple more. I hope y'all had your popcorn. There's stocks that I should have talked about today that I didn't. So I might save them for another video. So please subscribe, hit that like button, and ring that bell. And you'll get all our future updates on our videos that we do. Plus, we have Stock Twits, and we have a Twitter account. You can find that on the website. And that's right here where the icons are. And then you find our YouTube channel here, our Pinterest link, and our store. If you feel like buying some merchandise, we have some nice ladies' underwear in there. And also, I think we might have some men's, I'm not for sure. I got me a coffee cup and a nice little jacket that I wear, and an apron. It says, I love stocks. So let's go back to the ticker on the SPI. We got a strong buy here at 366.28 to 367.02. That's what I want to see hold. If not, that 364 area looks very pretty, 364.82. And the SPI is kind of hard to chart out because you got to follow the trend and how the market is each day. It's not as easy to chart as unless you're sitting there in the day and watching it. I can chart them up pretty good, and I can spot the reversals real well, like this double bottom we had right here. Bam. I would have mentioned that in the room if I'd have saw that. We got a double bottom at the SPI. Time to look at it seriously. So low support 366.28 to 367.02. That first one at 368.36. Resistance to break here at 370.82. I'm still a little bearish on the market, so we kind of got to let. We're getting into the February and March months, and usually they're not as good as the January. But that's just what history tells me. So keep that in mind. Just try to play a little more careful with your trades. Resistance to break 370.82, and then maybe run it up to right around this right here. Yeah, perfect. 372.69, and then you got another one right here at that 374. So maybe one more pullback on this sucker, and then if it does pull back pre-market, you might start seeing a reversal, and you want to bring it up to these resistance lines. And I think we can hold this trend going down, and that's going to be the resistance to break. And we'll go ahead and magnify this up, draw a trend line right here. Take that to the right. So this, like I said, this 374.03 area, that's going to be the resistance to break. If we can do that, we'll move up higher. If not, she'll pull back and go a little bit lower, and then we'll start to see it. I think after next week, a lot of this is going to settle down a little bit, and we're going to find out what path we're going to take, if it's going to be a bear path or a bullish path next week. Every week's different. So like I said, the market has a very short attention span, same as people. LMFA, MVIS, I loaded up at 25 cents to buy to hold. Oh, well, that's a bargain. Hello, Taddy. ABCL. Man, we got a lot of them today. How about if I came in here and did this again tomorrow, and we went over some more tomorrow? Because we're really running out on time here. ABCL, and I want to get everybody. So this is, I'm going to do 4 more. ABCL, I don't think I've charted it up, so I want to look at it. Oh, yeah, I haven't looked at this one. Absolute Biologics. Oh, it's ACBI. Is that what it is? Damn, where did I see that at? ABCL. Okay. $178 million float. The year 52 range. Short float 2.77%. Shares floated 178 million. Shares outstanding 267 million. Target price of 51.40. Okay, we'll go back to look at this one here. Yeah, this kind of, I think we can pull back to right here. 51.43. We did hit our target on it, and that was at $51. I can see why they called that target, because of these double, triple top. Then we had the quad breakout. So this is going to definitely pull back to 51.43, okay? I bet you bottom dollar next week. Put a note down there in comments when you see this pull back at ABCL to that 51.43 come Monday or Tuesday. Then if she can hold that channel, she might come back up here and hit the 52.78, and then have a resistance to break right here at 54.86. But this is what I talk about a lot. When you're wanting to look for a pullback, we've had more or less a 50% retraction on this already, but I think we can pull back to this triple quad top here, and that creates a strong support area. When you're trading and you see stuff like this, and you're in a downtrend, we could have one more little pullback on it, and she can bounce back up. I've seen this so many times. So 51.43. 52.78 to hold. If it does, we'll go to 54.86 for a double top. ABCL. Okay. BFI. I knew a guy named Geo once. Is that the same one that I know? It used to be in our room a long time ago. Tomorrow works, Steve. We definitely had a pullback here. We'll do LMFA here in a little bit. We're going to do BFI right now. I don't think I already did it because I'd have it charted up here. We're going to look at the yearly. Yeah, so we failed this 200. I want to look at the news. It's had a pretty nasty downtrend. Fourth quarter comps down. Sales 9 million. Ooh, yeah, this is not good. Fourth quarter sales 9 million. Fourth quarter declined 2.9%. Revenue 34 million year to date. What's the forecast? What was the consensus is what I want to know. Okay, that's why it's pulled back so hard, because it's had such a bad quarter. So we're going to try to find a real solid support. And I'm thinking right down here at the bottom of this chart, definitely right there at 1055. This thing pulls back to 1055. You can see a reversal back up. We're going to find an equilibrium on this year chart. We're going to find a pivot point. Yeah, right in here. See this little candle right here? We had this right in here. That's going to be like your pivot point, okay? And then we're going to look for another one in here, another support area. And I've got to find an equilibrium where everything kind of lines up and matches. Keep thinking right in here. I'm going off this. If I raise it up a little bit, I'll be too high. So, yeah, right in here. See where we touched up all these times here? See there where that body of that candle is right there? See all that? That's the equilibrium I could find in this channel. And we pulled right back. I didn't even see this. We pulled right back to it. See, I looked over in the main part and then seen that. Then we got another one right down here. Bam. Okay. We're getting somewhere now. Resistance level right here, 1380. So I could just probably tell you what's going to happen on this chart right here. Okay. We got 3 support levels. This one here is a major support level to hold, 1189. This is on BFI. I already checked out the sales on it. I wasn't too happy with them. So if this 1189 does not hold, We can pull back to 1122 with a strong buy at 1055. That's where I'd set your alert at. That's where I'm going to set mine. I'm going to set it at the ask, and I'm going to go below. I'm going to raise this to 60. I'm going to create me a little alert. I'm going to try to get there. I like to put a little field around, just a little force field around where I think support is and raise it up a little bit, because a lot of times you don't hit that support. You come very close. You come very close to it. Or at least that's in my favor. I don't know about how many times you've seen where I think it's going to pull back here, but it ends up pulling 5 cents above it and then starts to retrace up. That's what I like about Trend Spider. You're able to add that little field to it on your alerts. So we got a strong buy at 1055. I got alerts set at 1060, 1124, 1189 to hold, 1294 to 1380, and if we can get past that 1380, baby, here we come to 15 bucks. BFI. Okay, that's it. Look at a couple more. Man, these keep coming on. Just keep adding and adding. Visa, well, BNGO said pretty please. What was that last one? BFI. I gotta write these down because I'm gonna be looking at every one of these this week. You know, when I give a call out, I'd really appreciate it if you tell me if I'm wrong or right down in the comments section in the following week, because I'm always need improvement just like you do, but I always like to know if I'm right or wrong too, because that kind of builds my confidence level up. So the next one we're going to talk about is going to be, I got to definitely do Visa, VSIL, but we're going to see if we can go LMFA, law. I broke the law, Lord, I broke the law. Oh, I sure type in your name in here. What an idiot. LMFA. And you can tell I'm getting a little delirious. It's not easy to talk to yourself all day long. Some people think you're a little nutty. I like this one too. I think this has some real nice runs and nice breakouts, and it also has some real nasty pullbacks. So I think I got a support level down here at 130 for a strong buy. Strong buy there. I like to see no lower than this 150 area to hold, but we've kind of found a support level here too at 194. So because of this right in here, we've got this all charted up already. This 194 area, you see where them candles are right there? And we did break it could have been a support area, or this could have been a resistance area. I think it could have been probably either. But we're gonna look at them both as a resistance for right now. It means we broke below it. And that's going to be this 213. So it could pull back one more time. I think a couple days of pullback, unless it wants to go ahead and bust up this candle. But you see what happened here? We have the same exact candle we had right here, right? See that? You see that? So this is kind of telling me that we can pull back to this area right here at 149. So I'm going to actually raise this bar up here a little bit higher than 149. Actually, I'll put it right there at 157 for my alert. And that's where I'm going to adjust my alert level. Here at 158. Actually, I could raise it up just one more, maybe at 162. Yeah, I like it better. We'll replace it, take it to 162 for a solid buy. That's what I want to see hold, and this is LMFA. I think we'll have the same kind of reaction here as we did here, but it will be a little bit more short-lived. Okay? Strong buy, no lower than this 149, 162 area. And if this 194 holds, we need to break resistance. Oh, shit. I need to break resistance level of 213. I got a real sensitive mouse. 213, and then maybe run it up here right around the 244 area. I like it, but I think it could pull back to this lower support at 149 and then start to build a channel back up and try to find resistance at 213. And if that breaks, we can move on up higher. That's going to be LMFA. That's a tough one to look at, but I like the stock. When she runs beautifully. Am I right or am I wrong? Airbnb, we'll get that one out of the way. You're welcome, Taddy. LMFA's out of the way. Law, thank you very much for showing up today. Hit the like button if you haven't already. VISL, please. Remember, you got to have your little step. You got to have you some kind of game plan when you're trading, and have good people surrounded by around you, people that you trust. You've got to have mentors. Everybody has a mentor. I have a few of my own. Vegas is one of them. Bascat's another. I don't hardly ever badmouth any kind of traders out there unless you really start to give me shit. Then I'll just block you. You don't need that kind of crap in your life. So I'm trying to find these little patterns. I'm looking, like I said, I'm trying to find support levels in places where there have been patterns before. This one here is a good example, how she kind of breaks up. And then we got a low support right here. VISL. Technologies, on Friday, shipping latest satellite. Oh. Transmission cost and quality, reliable satellite transmission. Satellites are a big thing. Satellites are a big thing. I'll be yours. You know, I have hardly any friends that... I have two sets of friends. I have musician friends, and then I have my stock friends. So I have two different communities that I mingle with, and I'm more in love with my stock friends than I am with my musician friends by far. 95% of the people I know play music outside of the stock world. Okay, I'm looking at this chart here, VISL. I always look at everything. When I look at a trade, you know, I'm different. I'd always like to look for a support area. I think it's, and I like to read the charts, and I like to look at the candlestick patterns and chart patterns. So I always, when I'm looking at something, even if I think it's bullish, I'm going to have me three places where I think I can buy in at a pullback. If you watch the market every day, the stocks pull back and they bounce right back up to resistance. So many times a person will stay in a trade and run it up. Well, I'll take that trade, I'll run it up, I'll pull it back, I'll run it up, and I'll play the dip. I'll run it. I've traded it 5 times as that one person stayed in the trade to run it up and maybe not even take the gains that I'm getting from going up and pulling back, going up and pulling back. You just need one stock a day. You know, you don't need a whole encyclopedia of trades. It only takes one. And if you can find that right one every day, you're doing okay. I flipped Fubo, 5 times last week in a single day? I was saying, this is a trade, this is a flipping trade today. I mean, scalp this baby. I mean, it's giving you big spreads on a 3-5 minute candle time frame. You can get $180, 160 here. If you do that 5 or 6 times and the person's still in the trade and it's going up and down and going down, they're not winning. And I said last video, I said I was bearish on Fubo, and it pulled back. So VISL, I was on the last video I did. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm almost feeling like I need to clean this chart up again, but this 198 really attracts me right here. It's really, I'm gonna, damn, I can't see what level that is. Shoot. I don't know what I'll do here. Can't remove that. Well, let's just remove one and see what happens. Yeah, that's where we go. To the right, obtain this green. There we go. Okay, this $2 area, this 198, I'd really like to see hold on it. This is on VISL. If not, we can pull back to these lower two support areas, and there's another one right here. Can't leave those out. So there's a lot of choppiness. This is like a little channel right in here. I like to see this number hold right here between 171 and 198. If that holds, we can run this stock back up here to 255 and then maybe break the $3, the 294 area right here. Okay, 294. So this is how we look at it. It pulls back to maybe this lower support area of right here at 171, right there where that 50-day is. If that 200 doesn't hold, for right now you got that 50-day curving up, which means we could start seeing a reversal back up. If this thing starts to move up too, and both that 200 starts to move up, we could start to see a reversal on this trade right here. So I'm probably 60% bullish on a reversal, maybe 65 for it to reverse back up. If not, I've got a 198 support level, and I can see that I've already done that twice now. I put that line in there twice. So yeah, that 198, I'd like to see it hold. It's a little bit more difficult chart to look at. I'm gonna get rid of one of these two. There we go. At 198, I really like it right there. I really like it a lot. I want to see that hold. If not, that 183. There's your three support levels. 182, 198, and that 216 with a resistance to break right here at 256, long to 294, VISL. Airbnb, I'll do that one. And then we're going to call it quits. BFI is a low float, yep. Now, you know, low floats, you got to remember that they're a little more volatile, and a lot of traders just trade low float stocks. So those are the ones you can trade real well if you learn how to recognize, and you know the people out there that are trading that. I know a lot of people in the community, in the stock trading community, and I met most of them on Discord. I've been in a few rooms. So watching, there's different kind of traders. I'm a well-round trader. I have little issues with swing trading sometimes, but I can do about everything else. I can play the dips. I can scalp. I can you know, take the runners. I can play pullbacks, the knives, and that's eventually you'll become well-rounded after enough practice and enough time and the right people. You hang around the right people. So the next one we're going to look at is going to be Airbnb. That's another one that I love trading. I'm really have high hopes on this stock. We've had a pretty good run on it. It held way above the IPO that came out, and it's held up pretty well. Excuse me. Get a drink. This has almost gone 3 hours. So let's see here. We'll clean the chart up. a lot easier to read. 169. This area right here is going to be like your pivot point. I want to see that hold. If not, we can pull back to this area right in here. Bam, right there. 161. And then you got another one right in here. I'm matching up these candlesticks. This one here, and the wick. So right about there. 175.76. These are going to be your 3 support levels. And then resistance to break is going to be the top of this candle at 190.60. If we can break that, right there is a spinning top. It could go either way. It could pull back a little bit, find a real solid support at 161.91. So that's where I'm going to put my alert. And I'm going to make it 162. Or what is this? 161.91. Set me an alert. Okay, I like this real solid buy right here at 162. If it does pull back to that third support, if not, if we move on up and decides to go ahead and break out on some kind of news or something, 190.60, and maybe take it to about 192. And then if she keeps having one of them good days, run it up to about 201. 201.32 area. Airbnb, I'm bullish on, but you got to recognize it does have pullbacks, and this is probably in my top 10 list for 2021. Airbnb, because I think this leads me into saying COVID has changed the marketplace. COVID has changed your lifestyle, and it's not going to ever be the same. Things will never be the same as they were 1 year ago. Your life will change dramatically. Technology will change dramatically. The car sector, everything around you will start to change. So you got to keep that in mind, especially if you're young and you have a real good, keen smell for something that you like to do. It might be a time to start your little gig business. Trading stocks. If you're young, you got these hedge fund people already pissed off and upset. Screw them. I'm tired of them taking advantage of us. Tired of it. I mean, I'm sitting in here in a beautiful stock that's running great, and all of a sudden this fat cat comes out and says he downgrades it. Why? Because it's overpriced? It's got all these good numbers coming in? These people, they try to pull back the market on you. And it just disturbs me. I mean, this market should be twice as much as what it's worth right now. We should be at 60,000 in 5 years, or maybe 10 years. The Dow. Remember that. On January the 30th, 2021, Jim said in 10 years that the Dow is going to go to 60,000. I was laughed at when I said it was going to go to 20, and I'll be laughed at, and I've been laughed at because I said it was going to 40. I don't care. Okay, Airbnb, like I said, strong buy here at 162. I'd like to see that hold. That's about a $23 dip. Resistance to break is going to be that 201.32. It's going to be a hard resistance. Next one. Well, you're welcome, Francisco. Hello, lunch lady. You're welcome too. Yeah, them $600 checks. That's what got all them hedge fund managers so mad. What else do we got in here that I've skipped, or we're going to call this quits? Is there anything that I missed? I'll give one more pick. And we're going to shut this baby down. Let me see one that we haven't talked about. NAVI, being as I asked. I want to talk about Tesla. You know, I called Tesla a couple videos back. I want you to go back and watch that Tesla video that I did at Fubo and at GME. Hit that like button if you watch it again. I want you to see where Tesla pulled back and where I called it and where I said it was going to pull back to. And I took the trade, and I just didn't take it. What I said I was going to do, I didn't take it. I tried to be a tough guy, and I got beat up. And I usually don't get beat up on Tesla. So we got an equilibrium down here on this stock, way down here at 937. That's going to be like your little pivot point area. So I like the trend, how it's holding up pretty well. The higher lows. And we got another support level right here. I'm looking at the previous highs. See, I always draw a line on them previous highs. Have you ever noticed that? See that trend? And I'll go up here and do the same thing. Now this is more or less a pennant flag right here, or symmetrical flag. So it could either go either way. It's an upward trend. I think we can move on up. But always remember, they can pull back to that previous high. That's at 1075. It's going to be your solid support, 1001 and 937. Those are your three support levels. Resistance to break is going to be right here at 1211. And then you've got this gap, or this place right up here, right around 1370 long, NAVI. I like it. I like how it's trending up. It's a beautiful chart. You have higher lows, you have higher highs. So it could pull back to the previous high. See, that's what we kind of do. We pulled back to this previous high. This was a real solid support right here. If I was watching this trade, I'd have got in this stock at 939 and run it on up and tried to break this resistance here at 1075. But now it's become support. So we've got three support levels. Resistance to break. It's going to be this 1211, 1250, 1250. And then right here at 1324, long 1370. I like this one a lot. Thanks for pointing it out to me. I like it a lot. I mean, if this thing pulls back to 937, buy as much as you can. I can't see that happen. I see it kind of building a higher high, maybe $10 for a solid buy. That 937 though, I mean that's where I jump in. Yeah, this is the 1 year daily. Get some love and attention from GameStop. This will be my, let's do GA, grab Tesla at close, okay. Well, hell, I can keep doing this for hours. Gosh, you're tearing me up today, people. Okay, these are the last three. No more. Now give me one of Francisco, give me one out of those two. If you just mention them to me to help me out. GSAT. GSAT's had a pretty nice little breakout too here, looks like. All the way down here from the bottom, right around 32, all the way up to this 137 area. So let's clear this out. It means it's all old. Where are we going to go here? Clear drawing. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little blurry-eyed. 105. 89. 96. Global star named Jim Mandela. Oh, Mandela. Must be a good guy with the name of Jim. Leadership changes, increased focus on comment. Having leadership changes. Why Morgan Stanley is downgrading Global Star after a strong rally. Morgan Stanley, you suck. Well, they just couldn't, they just kept typing it in here. 55 cents is what they think. Well, that's pretty obvious. GSAT. But I'm going to tell something. I'm going to tell Morgan Stanley something here. What are they doing, for one, for talking about penny stocks? Ain't that a little bit out of their league? Tells me that they want to get into the trade. A little out of their league. So we're going to bring this to the 20-day now. Oh, come on. Things just ain't working right today. Okay, Morgan. We'll see here. Now this is a pretty good little breakout right in here. So I'm going to hold this support level at 83. I want to see it hold that 83 cents. So these are your three supports. This is a little channel right here with higher highs. This is called more or less an ascending triangle, but you could also call it a pennant flag. So we got that first support here at 96, 89, and 83. Those are the three I want to hold. Morgan says it's going down to 55. I can, any case scenario, it can drop down there if people just stop trading it. Usually when you see a downgrade or something, people will forget about it and move on to another stock and let the sellers take control. But for right now, if this green line crosses down below the 200, that would be called a death cross, which means it could pull back to that 83 cents. And if not, you'll meet your Morgan Stanley down here at 54 to 63 for a reversal back up. Personally, I want to see it 83 hold. I'd like to see it hold this channel. 83, 89, 96 with the resistance levels of 113, 124, and 137. That's going to be GSAT. They work with that's going to be good news. That's good news. So maybe Morgan Stanley is wrong. Maybe they're wrong. I think they're wrong. I think 83 is a strong support level. Okay, we're going to do Tesla, and that's going to be it. You guys got an extra hour today. I'm impressed. I am very impressed. Now, if you watched the last video I did on Tesla, I think Uncle Jimmy said we're going to go pull back to 777.07. Look here. We hit 779.54. This was on Sunday or Wednesday, or I forgot when I said this. Might have been Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday or something. But she did pull back pretty hard. I got to be a fool in this trade, and I tried to take it here at 816, and bam, she went ahead and pulled on back on me. And so I'm going to keep that 777 for strong support, and I want to look for a reversal back up. This is my favorite company out of Wall Street right now, and we've had a pretty good little sell-off, good $100 or so. This thing was up here at 940 cents. Now they got a lot of good upgrades on this company here. To $1,000. One was even higher than that. Where are all them upgrades? There's a lot of stuff going on here. There's a $900 price target raised. Oh, one maintains, Roth Capital maintains neutral on Tesla, maintains $150 price target. Okay. Now, what do you think when you see something like that? I don't think much of it. I don't think much of it. There's that $1,000 one. I just passed on through it. Yep, you're right. 83. So here we go. 777. I did have a solid support at 797 that I wanted to hold, but we went down a little bit below that to that lower support that I called out in that last video at 77707. So I think we can reverse back up. The main point is we got to break that 797.21. And if we can do that, we can run this baby back up here to right around 822 area, 823. And that is going to be another little equilibrium to get to. If you can break that, that's going to be like your second resistance level from the 797. Then you got 722.59. And then we can take it back up here to 845. And that's where you're going to find some resistance on Tesla. And I think it's due for another turnaround. But we're going to find out Monday. Any kind of knife is going to be a buy for me Monday morning. And that's it for the market report. I hope you all really enjoyed this. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Also, down in the comments section, I'd really appreciate it if you put some comments down there. That would be great after the recording's done. On calls that I've made, calls that you called and you've had me look at. I would like to see if I did good or if I did bad on them, or I'd like to make a comment, see where we're going to go from there. So I really do appreciate it. Always remember, I love stocks. We have a little web page here. If you haven't got there yet and you're not involved in our room, you could always go to our Twitter page, Miss Vegas. Little thing, she's one of the best tape readers we have. She posts alerts in here all the time. We're getting a bigger following day by day. I think they're adding on more. We're up to 8,077. I think we're up like $3,000 since I started doing these videos. So keep that in mind. Follow us on there, and we got our stock twits. You can follow us on here, hit that like button. I'm posting alerts in here all the time. There's my bad trade on Tesla. I won't forget it. Bad. Okay. And then we also on our website, Miss Vegas has hers. Appreciate it if you hit her like button, follow her. AMC's on fire. We called that one out from the bottom. Called a little support level on AMC. I'm still going to be bullish on it. I think it can pull back and then play the dips. So I love stocks and I do appreciate it all. You're welcome, Steve, Francisco, Lunch Lady. Appreciate everybody showing up. Go back to watch the recording, share this recording. I'd appreciate that too. And I'm going to go ahead and call this quits. I hate to say goodbye, but man, I've been talking for 3 hours here. That's an hour past my bedtime. So thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Let's have a great week next week. Always remember, build you a plan. Try not to go off other traders, and it'll all be good for you. And I want to leave with maybe, see what this is about. Boom, boom, boom. Y'all have a good day, man. See y'all next week. Try to tell a few people about us. Jimmy signing out.